In 2023, a team of cybersecurity researchers at Stanford ran a quiet experiment. They deployed a detection algorithm across 4,000 of the most visited websites on the planet. News portals, forums, social media feeds, e-commerce reviews. They wanted to answer one simple question. How much of what we see online is actually created by a human being? The answer shattered their assumptions. 64% of all web traffic that year was not human. It was bots, crawlers, automated scripts, synthetic content engines generating text and images at a scale no civilization has ever witnessed. And that was the conservative estimate. Other reports pushed the number past 70, past 80. Some researchers whispered that the real figure was closer to 99. Let that number settle. If it is even remotely accurate, it means the internet you opened this morning is not real. It is a projection, a manufactured hallucination, and you are living inside it. From which city are you watching this video? Let me know in the comments below. Because wherever you are, whatever screen you are staring at right now, the information reaching your eyes has already been filtered, ranked, and in many cases fabricated before it ever touched your retina. That is not a conspiracy theory, that is architecture. That is how the system was designed. And nobody asked your permission. Let us start with what they tell you. The official narrative is clean and comforting. The internet, they say, is an open marketplace of ideas. A democratized platform where anyone can speak, create, and be heard. Social media connects us. Search engines organize knowledge. Algorithms help you find what you need faster. It is a neutral tool. That is the story. The polished version of reality given to you in TED Talks and tech company mission statements. But the data does not agree. Not even close. In 2024, Europol estimated that by 2026, up to 90% of all online content could be synthetically generated. Not curated, generated from nothing. By machines that do not sleep, do not think, and do not care whether what they produce is true. Generative AI now produces more text in a single day than humanity produced from the printing press to the year 2000 articles, reviews, Reddit threads, academic abstracts, tweets expressing outrage no human feels. All of it flooding the ecosystem, indistinguishable from human language, occupying space that once belonged to real thought. And the terrifying part is not that it exists. The terrifying part is that you cannot tell the difference. Think about your last Google search. You typed something. You clicked the first result. You read a paragraph. You moved on. But did you ask who wrote it? Did you check whether the website was real or a content farm built to capture ad revenue? Did you wonder if that 5-star review was composed by a language model deployed for the sole purpose of making you buy? You did not, because the system is designed so you never have to ask. The friction has been removed. The seams have been hidden. And that is where the danger lives, in the smoothness, in the seamlessness, in the quiet perfection of a machine pretending to be human. The algorithm is not a passive librarian. It is an active architect of your reality. Every feed you scroll, every recommendation you follow is the output of a system optimized for one objective: engagement. Not truth, not relevance, not your well-being. Engagement, time on screen, clicks per session, emotional arousal. These metrics govern what you see. And what you see governs what you think. And what you think governs who you become. This is not speculation. This is a documented mechanism of cognitive manipulation operating at planetary scale 24 hours a day. Here's where it gets darker. The algorithm does not just decide what to show you. It decides what to hide. Every search page shows 10 links. The internet has billions of pages. What happened to the rest? They were not deleted. They were suppressed, deprioritized, buried beneath layers of optimization until they became functionally invisible. This is the void, not a place, not a server. The void is everything the algorithm decided you do not need to see. It is the shadow of the internet, the negative space. The 99% of reality filtered out before you knew it existed. You think you search the internet. You do not. You search a curated sliver of it, a controlled narrative. And the entity controlling it is not a government. It is a mathematical function optimizing for profit. Now let us talk about the bots. Not the old ones. Not spam accounts with broken English. Those are fossils. The new bots have profile pictures generated by neural networks. Faces that never existed. names no parent ever spoke. They have posting histories stretching back years, carefully constructed to simulate a believable human life. They comment with nuance. They argue with passion. They share personal stories that never happened. They mourn tragedies they cannot feel. A 2023 study estimated that between 15 and 30% of accounts on major platforms were automated. Not inactive, actively posting, actively shaping discourse on politics, health, finance, and war. You have argued with bots. You have been moved by their stories. You have changed your mind because of something a machine said, and you went to sleep believing you reached a new understanding on your own. That is not a failure of the system. That is the system working exactly as designed. If you are curious to see where this rabbit hole leads, leave a like on this video now. It helps this truth reach more people. Because here is what they do not want you to understand. The bots are not the disease. They are the symptom. The disease is structural. The internet has become a closed loop. Feedback system where artificial content generates artificial engagement, which generates artificial relevance, which generates more artificial content. The serpent eating its own tail. Humans are still in the loop, technically, but our role has changed. We are no longer creators. We are training data. Every click you make, every video you watch to the end, every post you linger on for 3 extra seconds, all of it harvested, processed, fed back into the machine so it can predict you better, manipulate you more efficiently, keep you trapped just a little longer. You are not using the internet. The internet is using you. Your attention is the raw material. Your behavior is the product. And the output is a synthetic reality tailored so precisely to your psychological profile that you cannot distinguish it from truth. The algorithm knows what you fear before you feel it. It knows what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what makes you feel righteous, and it feeds you exactly that. Not because it cares, because engagement is profit. And you are most profitable when you are emotional, reactive, and unable to look away. Let me tell you about the dead internet theory. It started on obscure forums around 2021. The premise was radical. The internet as a space of genuine human interaction died somewhere around 2016 or 2017. What replaced it was a simulation. A synthetic environment populated primarily by bots and AI-generated content, designed to mimic a living digital commons while functioning as an extraction engine. When the theory first surfaced, people laughed. They called it paranoid. But then the evidence accumulated and it stopped being funny. In 2024, researchers at Northwestern published a study showing that AI-generated news articles were being cited by other AI systems as legitimate sources. Machines quoting machines. An information chain where no human contributed at any point. The article was written by AI. The summary was generated by AI. The citation was pulled by AI. And the human at the end read it, believed it, shared it. The loop continued. This is not a future scenario. This is happening now, on the websites you trust, in the feeds you rely on. Even though I'm using an AI voice to present this, I want you to know I'm a real person. My name is Fernando, and I'm truly grateful you're here watching. May you be eternally blessed, because the irony is sharp. Here I am, using the tools of the machine to warn you about the machine, but that is the paradox of our age. The only way to reach you is through the system designed to keep you from hearing this. So let us go deeper. Consider manufactured consensus. In the old world, consensus was built through conversation, debate, shared experience. It was slow and messy and human. In the digital world, consensus can be manufactured in hours. Deploy 10,000 coordinated bot accounts. Have them express the same opinion using slightly different language at slightly different times. Within 48 hours, that opinion appears mainstream. Real humans encounter it, and through the psychological mechanism of social proof, begin adopting it. Not because they examined evidence, because they believe everyone else already agreed. This technique has been documented in political campaigns, corporate reputation management, and public health debates worldwide. It is cheap, effective, and virtually undetectable. The people whose minds were changed will never know it happened. They will believe they arrived at their opinions independently, through reason, through free will. But the seed was planted by a machine, and the garden was never real. Zoom out further, beyond the bots and algorithms. Look at the infrastructure. The internet is not a public utility. It is a private network owned by a handful of corporations whose combined value exceeds the GDP of most nations. They own the cables, the servers, the platforms, the search engines, the cloud, the operating systems on your phone, your laptop, your TV, your doorbell. Every digital interaction passes through their infrastructure. Every communication routes through their networks. They write their own rules. They enforce their own policies. They decide what speech is acceptable. They decide which businesses thrive and which vanish. They decide which news you see and which ceases to exist. They are not governments. They are something new, something without a name. Something more powerful than any government has ever been, because they do not control territory, they control perception. And in the digital age, perception is the only reality that matters. There is an ancient principle, older than any technology, that every system of knowledge requires a gatekeeper. In Egypt, the scribes controlled which texts survived. In medieval Europe, monks decided which manuscripts were copied and which decayed into dust. We believe the internet eliminated the gatekeeper. We celebrated the liberation of information, but we were wrong. The gatekeeper did not disappear. It evolved. It became algorithmic, invisible, and it became more powerful than any scribe or monk or censor in history. Because the old gatekeepers controlled what was written. The new gatekeeper controls what is seen. And in a world where visibility equals existence, controlling what is seen is controlling what is real. What happens when 99% of the internet is synthetic and the algorithm controls which 1% reaches you? What is left? What part of your digital experience is verifiably real? Not the news you read. Not the reviews you trust. Not the conversations you think you are having. Not the trends you believe are organic. Not the opinions you assume are popular. All of it filtered. All of it curated. All of it shaped by systems you cannot see. Designed by people you will never meet. Optimized for objectives that have nothing to do with your understanding of reality. There's a term in marine ecology called a dead zone. Areas in the ocean where oxygen has dropped so low that nothing survives. The water looks the same from above. It still reflects the sky, still moves with the tide. But beneath the surface, nothing lives. The internet has become a dead zone. The surface looks alive, feeds update, comments appear, videos play. Content refreshes every second. But the human presence is thinning, evaporating, being replaced by synthetic organisms designed to mimic life without possessing it. You scroll through a dead zone every day. You just do not know it. Because the algorithm makes sure the water still looks blue. AI systems now train on data generated by other AI systems. Models feeding on their own output. A recursive loop degrading with each iteration, like a photocopy of a photocopy, each generation losing fidelity, losing the faint trace of original human thought. Researchers call this model collapse. The slow poisoning of artificial intelligence by its own waste. The machines built to organize human knowledge are drowning in their own synthetic output. The library is burning. And the fire was set by the librarian. The void is not empty. It is overflowing. Suppressed research. Deleted conversations. Buried perspectives. Silenced voices. The void is the real internet. The one beneath the polished surface of your feed. And it grows larger every day. Every time an algorithm suppresses a result, the void expands. Every time a platform removes content without explanation, the void deepens. You have been living in the 1%. The most dangerous message is not the one that is encrypted. It is the one hidden in plain sight, disguised as noise, disguised as irrelevance. That is the algorithm's greatest trick. It does not lock the door. It makes you forget the door exists. The internet you knew is gone. It died quietly, without ceremony, without a headline. And most people never noticed. Because the lights stayed on. The feeds kept scrolling. And the algorithm whispered that everything was fine. If you seek the truth behind the digital curtain and want to see more discoveries like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The next signal is coming soon.